Michel Barnier made a big mistake as the EU opted not to follow the same trade strategy adopted by Britain with the USA in 1782, former Conservative MEP Daniel Hannan claimed. The EU and UK will embark on an intensified final phase of Brexit talks today after Britain agreed to lift its block on negotiations. The breakthrough came after a call between the EU's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier and his British counterpart David Frost, with both sides agreeing to restart talks. Negotiations had been deadlocked since last week because of Prime Minister Boris Johnson's decision to demand a fundamental rethink from the bloc before allowing further meetings. Mr. Barnier and Lord Frost agreed a 10-point plan for this next and final phase of the negotiations, including working through weekends and establishing a small joint secretariat to hold a master consolidated text. However, a Downing Street spokesperson said it is clear that significant gaps remain between our positions in the most difficult areas. Mr. Johnson had criticized a statement adopted by EU leaders at a summit last week that called on the UK to make the necessary moves to make an agreement possible, saying there was no point continuing talks if all concessions needed to come from the British side. As the clock ticks down, former Conservative MEP Daniel Hannan laid the blame for the current Brexit deadlock on Brussels. In a recent report, he argued the EU should have followed the same trade strategy adopted by Britain in 1782, instead of treating London as a dangerous neighbour. He wrote, "Colonial powers do not easily relinquish sovereignty. Britain was one of the rare exceptions. When, in 1782, it became clear that the 13 colonies were set on separation, London offered terms so generously that the American negotiators, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin and John Jay, could not believe what they were hearing." Britain's calculation, which turned out to be correct, was that, once American independence was a fact, its best interest lay in ensuring maximum trade with its former possessions. Mr. Hannan noted the EU has not been able to make an equivalent psychological adjustment. If nothing else, he added, lengthy talks served to establish beyond doubt that the EU was not negotiating in good faith.